Number one, again, she wasn't leaving, right? That's very key. If you are talking to a girl and she's not leaving, that should be all the indication you need that it's on enough. Okay, you don't need her to be touching you and giggling and whatnot. All you need her to do is not leave. If you're a man to woman and she doesn't leave, she's at least a little bit in. That's number one. Number two was she would react a little bit when I gave her shit. Only a very little bit. It was like shooting like bullets at the Titanic, right? But you could notice like little tiny little pockmarks, right? Little tiny fucking like. So that's what I was getting. It was very, very little, but there was the indication of something, some little tiny bit, and that's about it. And then what ended up happening, we ended up, so she and her friends they wanted to kind of continue the night a little bit. She didn't really like me yet, but whatever. And so we suggested we go to like this strip club around the corner. I hate strip clubs, but it was the only place open, so whatever. And we walked over, and funny enough, she was actually pretty down for the strip club. Like she was like upset when it was actually closed and they wouldn't let us in. But she was like upset, which was weird. Like she was like annoyed, right? And part of it's the like hot girl, like I get in anywhere annoyance. But part of it was legitimately like she like didn't like want to go home. So that was very positive. I ended up winging off for the student for a little bit, and then someone else ended up talking to her for a little bit. And funny enough, the other girl was really on for me, but I kept looking over and I'm like, fuck, I don't want this one. I want the other one. So I was trying to like de-escalate the situation, because there's sort of like this point of no return, right? There's this point where if you go too far with a particular girl, you get a little too close, then it becomes very hard to switch to one of the friends. So I was trying really hard to de-escalate it, but I was kind of in the back of my mind, like in case this doesn't work, she's cute too. So I was like basically hitting that line. And then it got to a point where we were standing around too long. We were standing around outside the strip club. People were starting to get, like, you could sense the impatience to it. And I'm like, this needs to get pulled. And so then I re-engaged the hot one, because I'd vaguely mentioned the idea of plans with the one I was talking to. And so I talked to her, and then she seemed like very enthusiastic. She actually seemed enthusiastic about going somewhere all as a group. But again, she'd given me zero compliments, lots of insults, had not qualified to me in any way, was like giving me as few words as possible. Even when she was like, oh yeah, that's cool, right? But she was non-resistant. She's like, oh yeah, that's cool, ask her. I'm good, but ask her, right? But it was highly compliant. So that's all it was, but it was very negative, very negative, very negative. So we ended up we convinced them to go to an after party, which didn't exist because we were ill prepared. Here's another lesson from this, be prepared. Right, we'd just gotten into London the night before, and we had a small hotel where we had 3 of us staying in like one room basically, and we had like no alcohol, nothing to like party, whatever, no excuse to bring a girl back at all, right? And so we got 6 people in a taxi, including me, my wingman, 2 girls, another girl with a random guy we didn't know who knew all of them. So we're about to go back under the premise of after party to this tiny room with 6 people, one of whom is a dude. I'm like, well, okay, this is not looking good, but it's better than standing on the street. At least it's going somewhere. And then what was the luckiest thing that could have possibly happened, it turned out, I think, was the taxi was a total dickhead and wouldn't take us. Like we were all in there, we were sitting down, but he's like 5 people at most, right? And so it was like London taxis can technically take 6, but they really have seats for 5. So he kicked us out of the taxi. And at that moment, I'm like, well, fuck now. But at the other point, like I was thinking as we were about to get in the taxi home, I'm like, if we get home, it's gonna kill the set anyway. So like, in a way, it's good. So we stand around for a little more indecision. Then I'm like, fuck it, casino, right? So you go to the casino, and we go downstairs, and it's going well for my wingman. It's going well for the other dude who knows the girls. I'm getting nothing from my girl still. Nothing. I'm just looking over like enviously. I'm like, fuck, I chose the wrong one. What the fuck? I mean, she's hot, but like the only reason I was like not switching back, I was like, fuck it, you know what? Better for the soul. Try for it. I don't need another 8 in my life. I need a fucking 10, right? So I go for it, push for it. And she's literally like, I'm like, let me show you around or whatever. I used to like play poker for a living. I'll show you around the casino. And she walks with me for a little bit, and then she's like, oh, this is stupid. He's like, this is so stupid that people gambling, whatever. I'm like, oh, I agree with you, whatever. And it's just like the tone is going down. It's getting shitty. She's basically calling me stupid. She's calling the whole scene stupid. It's all super negative. She actually gets out her phone to hail an Uber, and actually has hailed an Uber, right? It's like, oh, fuck this, right? And then I'm like, you know what? Don't do that. Fuck Uber. Come grab a drink first. You can Uber in like 5 more minutes. She's like, no, I already did. I'm like, did you do it? You just did it now, right? Cancel it right now. You have to do it right now. If you don't, they won't let you. Do it now, right? And she's like, okay. Cancels it. Comes and grabs a drink. I'm like, yes. Okay, good. Compliance. But still, at this point, she had not given me a single compliment. Tons of insults. The only thing she'd given me is her presence. And at that, like her bitchy, annoyed, like kind of like terrible presence. And anyway. So I took her to have a drink with her. And a very interesting thing happens when you sit down and have a drink with a girl, or sit down and do something with a girl that's planned, is that up until that moment, it's a pickup, right? As soon as you've agreed to do something, you're doing an activity together, now it's like a date in a way, right? There's sort of like social obligation on both sides. She expects for there to be conversation, and so she actually started to open up and talk a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. And then, so it went a little bit better. And then another really fortuitous event, she lost her voice. All right, so she could no longer be a bitch. No, she lost her voice. And the reason this was fortuitous is she had this like sort of like princess, queen, like Miss Perfect thing. And then all of a sudden when she couldn't talk, she felt a little self-conscious. She felt a little bit like there was something off, and she felt a little insecure. Just a tiny little bit insecure, but it helped, right? And it kind of made it harder to talk to her, but it was positive as far as it went. And so then we were walking back to the friends, and she's like, I don't know, I hate this. I want to go outside. I'm gonna grab a cigarette and go home. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just go with you, right? So we go outside. She gets the cigarette or whatnot, and then she starts like, instead of talking to me, she starts writing messages on her phone and showing them to me, and then like on a notepad. And then I talk, and then she shows me the notepad because she didn't like want to talk because she lost her voice. It's fucking annoying, but whatever. But it's kind of cute in a way. And it was good because she had to like think about what she was saying to me, and she had to invest each time. So there's more of an investment every time she talks. So it was kind of good in that way. So eventually she's like, oh, okay, I'm going home, whatever. And so I'm like, oh, what part of the city are you in? And she tells me like, oh, I think I'm near that. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, where are you? Well, at this point, I don't know London, number one. I have no idea where anything is in that city. I don't know where I'm staying, actually. I know like how to tell the taxi driver, but I have no idea what part of London it even is. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where she is. I don't even know, like I can't even make, excuse me. I'm gonna lose my voice and start having to show you shit on this in a second. I can't even make up a good lie at this point, right? Like I cannot even plausibly lie. So I'm just like, oh yeah, no, yeah, that area. I think I'm almost certain I'm near there. We'll hop in the taxi. I'll drop you off, and then I'll go the rest of the way. She's like, oh no, where are you? Like, let's just be sure. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I have to look at my phone or whatever. I pull up my phone. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have data. I can't. I don't know. I can't whatever. And she's like, oh no, it's okay. What's the postal code? Tell me. So I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm like, it's shit. I don't. Actually, you know what? This taxi's coming. Let's get this one before he leaves, right? And so I just made urgency about it, and we go to get in the taxi. However, yet another obstacle. London taxis, late night, don't take credit cards. And I was like basically out of pounds. So I'm like, we'll pay however. He's like, oh no, there's a cash point up there. So I'm sitting there with my debit card that I never use my debit card. I have no idea the balance. I have no idea if there's even a penny on it. Just like hoping and praying. I'm like, please let money come out. Please let money come out. And so I get like 40 pounds or whatever. I'm like, yes, thank you. We run back to the taxi. He hasn't left. She gets in the taxi with me. And then she's like, okay, fine. Let's go, right? So we go, and the whole time again, she's still giving me nothing. The closest she's come to affection is certain times when I make fun of her, she goes, fuck you. That's the closest she's come to affection. Like it's like icy platonic, ah, fuck you, right? And so, but she's starting to like, see me as a leader. She's starting to see me as I'm kind of in control of the night. I've handled some situations, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't gotten flustered, whatever. And so as she's texting me, it's really random. I say a couple things making fun of her. And I say, no, I think you're like a nice person or whatever. And she's like, oh, you're nice too. She like texts me, you're nice too. I'm like, oh, that's positive. And then I say like some other stuff making fun of her, saying like, I think I said like something like, oh, we shouldn't do XYZ tonight. I'm glad we met. You seem cool, but like, let's not go over the top. And then she gets a little weird, like a little offended by that. I make one more sort of like negative but positive comment. And then she takes the phone out and she texts me, and this is, remember, 0 positive, this entire interaction, 0 positives. She texts me, okay, I'll fuck you. And I look at it, I look at her, I look at it again, I'm like, okay, cool, right? And then she takes the phone back and like deletes the aisle and puts it back in front of me and goes, okay, fuck you. But at that moment, I felt pretty good about it. So we talked a little bit more. I actually made out with her in the taxi, and it was like super hot and heavy. We got to her place, and then basically she's just like, you can come in for a minute, but nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, okay. Right? I'm like, actually, she's like, you can come in for a minute, but nothing's gonna happen. And actually, I was gonna say, can I use your restroom anyway? I decided to do it in any case. It's like, okay, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, because I actually have to use the restroom, so like, it's better than trying to find somewhere like public, so thank you, I appreciate it. Right? So then I go in, and she walks in, she gets to the, we walk in and like bathrooms here, living rooms like right ahead, and she like stands in front of the bathroom and goes, that's you. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, you want to use the restroom too? And I go to the living room, she's like, no, I'm sorry, that's you. She got like all flustered and weird, right? So I go use the restroom, take my time, take a breath. She's like, okay, here we go. It's gonna take some patience, like just getting prepared for like what's to come. And I walk in and she like took her shoes off. She's like, relaxed. She goes, you sit here, and like indicates the couch. I'm like, okay. And she's like, do you want wine? I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, right? And from there, it was very positive. We actually had to, there's very little LMR per se, but I did have to start and stop about 3 or 4 times on the way there. But there was never a like, no, we can't do this. There was just a, no, drink your wine. No, let's talk. And then some more. But it ended up being pretty good. And then, yeah, we had sex 4 times. And point is, girls that are very, very hot, a lot of times the stories of the pulls are like that. You would be shocked how many times it's they give you nothing, 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 right? And why is that? They really, really want to see if you're entitled. They really want to see if you believe, right? Most guys would have given up, right? Most guys would have given up. Almost every guy would have given up at some point, right? I mean, like, how many people would have given up when she Ubered? Like, let's be fair about that. You're like, oh, well, fuck it, right? She's giving me no compliments. She acts like she hates me. She tells me the place sucks. She tells me I'm boring her, and then she Ubers, right? Most guys would be like, okay, well, fuck, I don't know, right? Or most guys would have given up long before that. Most guys would have given up when we got kicked out of the taxi, right? But it's all about, or most guys would have given up when she's like, oh, what's the postal code of where you're staying, right? There's so many places where you could quit. There's so many places where you get messed up. And what sets apart the guys who are really elite a lot of times, or the guys who get results at an elite level is, persistence and being able to handle the obstacles without getting flustered. Because there were a ton of obstacles in that set. And that's very standard. That's happened so many times to me.